Hello, everyone. Yes, here we are, deliciously unfiltered and utterly unbelievable. That's Sydney Fringe. For those who are not familiar with Sydney Fringe, we're the largest independent arts festival in New South Wales. We are facilitators of storytellers, and we feel very privileged that we get to live and work in a country that has the oldest living culture in the world, and we pay our respects to our First Nations people who are here tonight and our elders past and present. Each year we activate over 29 postcode areas of Greater Sydney, presenting around 400 productions that feature over 2,000 local artists. Nearly 100,000 people attended this year, and while we're waiting on all of our impact figures for 2023, because we literally just finished a couple of weeks ago, in 22 a smaller audience contributed over $36 million in economic impact to the city at the festival. But cultural impact is what interests us the most. We want to be celebrated as one of the world's leading fringe festivals. We think Sydney's the best city in the world, and we should have the best fringe festival in the world. And Jace stole my thunder because I was going to start this by preferencing my presentation saying I do love the Western Harbour, but I really do love it, and I am incredibly passionate about our local cultural sector and the harbour, and the thought of bringing both those things together is very exciting for me. We exist to champion the independent cultural sector, placing it at the heart of Sydney. That's everything that we do at Sydney Fringe guides us. We live our values and we are in service of our city and its people every day of the year, not just during festival time. We're working at the moment on a piece of research for the Western Harbour, which will be ready later this year, but Jace and Jeff have asked me to give you a snapshot of what we did this year and of our visioning of how Sydney Fringe can interact with the Precinct in coming years. We are a festival that speaks in the most authentic Sydney voice. As a mostly non-curated festival, our program is created by local artists for our audiences, and it's presented all across the city in existing venues, site activations, pop-up spaces, and everything in between. Sydney Fringe was created 14 years ago by a collection of Inner West creative businesses. It was created as a mechanism to promote the Inner West of Sydney as a destination entertainment precinct. Tick. Job done, there you go, Enmore Road, all excellent. Because of our originating purpose, we have a unique model where existing businesses and the independent arts sector come together to amplify existing activity and to grow impact. The success of the festival reflects demand by audiences, artists and businesses, and unlike other arts events that overlay curated activity on top of a city, our festival is curated and created by our local artists from the ground up in partnership with our city, and it's reflective of the true heartbeat and voice of Sydney. We have over 13 years of advocacy and hard-won successes. We're now a trusted voice for the independent arts sector. We advocate, we activate, we agitate for reform, and we work in partnership with all tiers of government and major stakeholders to build a more viable and vibrant city. And the work that Sydney Fringe has undertaken outside of festival time has contributed to tangible outcomes that have changed the fabric of New South Wales. Our 2023 festival was our most successful one yet. Sydney audiences came out in droves and we saw a 43% increase in ticket sales this year. A big shout out to our minister who has departed, and to the current state government for increased support and investment to Fringe this year that's enabled us to amp up our activity. We're demographically diverse. There's something for everyone at Fringe. We are passionate about working with the Western Harbour. This precinct offers incredible potential through a wide variety of activation sites, both PMS, NSW operated and owned sites, public space, but also underutilised spaces and existing configurable infrastructure. Crucially for us, the Western Harbour is a walkable, unparalleled location surrounded by food and bev, accommodation and scenery. We need a place to call home, Sydney Fringe does, where we can grow as demand dictates and where we can create a globally significant moment to achieve our vision of becoming one of the world's leading fringe festivals. We think the Western Harbour is that place. In 2023, we continued our commitment in the Western Harbour with a number of programming elements in the festival. We worked at the Wharf Precinct, Walsh Bay, with our dance hub. We had a Fringe Kids program at ARA Darling Quarter Theatre in partnership with Monkey Bar. We worked with the New Sydney Waterfront, PMSW and Darling Quarter Lendlease to do a pop-up tent, Hello Darling, and we did a massive free kids day called Kabox in Darling Quarter as well. Importantly, we piloted this new project called Hello Darling, which was enabled by the bid. We wanted to have a look at a snapshot of what activations might look like in a shared risk environment where we all contributed and how that might be rolled out throughout the precinct. Unanimously, audiences loved our Hello Darling at Darling Quarter. It was only on for 17 days, but we smashed out 56 shows. We exceeded all audience expectations, and the project saw incredible returns for our partners in terms of footfall, ancillary spend, dwell time and awareness. We would love to see activations like this created all through the precinct in future years during Fringe Festival. Importantly, the Darling Quarter pilot built on our long-term partnerships with Darling Quarter and Monkey Bar, looking at family-friendly programming within the precinct. Here's a little taste of all the wonderful things that happened, even ponies. Daytime family-friendly programming, nighttime cabaret programming, huge satisfaction from audiences. We've had specific audience surveys for all of the participants there that we'll produce in our report later on in the end of the year. Here's some snapshots of fun things that people thought about it. Finding the fun I didn't know I needed. There you go. Hello Darling provided a great example of a successful public-private partnership with a cultural organisation, and it's laid strong groundwork for future funding models for our harbour garden here in the Western Harbour. Every entity on this chart invested into this project to make it happen, even the artists. This shared risk model resulted in excellent value for money, and it shows the power of coming together, which has been such a wonderful theme of today's summit, of collaboration and coming together. So even though all entities had completely differing KPIs, with an aligned outcome, all of these were successfully delivered. The interesting thing about Sydney Fringe is that we can act as a cornerstone entity and as a cultural entrepreneur. This provides a competitive advantage over purely commercial presenters and narrow genre-based institutions. I'm whizzing through my countdown. Here's a bunch of advantages of the Fringe model. There's loads of benefits. We've developed a model of partnership that builds sector capacity, reduces risk and produces authentic outcomes. It creates long-lasting relationships and authentically aligns across values. We've got a big vision. We know how to get there. We believe that within 3 years we can become a state-significant event if we've got a home ground where we can build from. And we've got ambitions to be nationally significant within 5 years. This is going to bring substantial benefits to New South Wales and importantly, most importantly, to the local independent arts sector that we all rely on for our cultural capital. Here you go. We have a vision of painting the whole Western Harbour pink, including major festival garden anchor points at Tumbalong Park in and around here, in and around the Maritime Museum and Piermont Park, and additional activations extending through Barangaroo and Walsh Bay. We have an opportunity here to expand the global lens from just the Eastern Harbour further west into the cultural heartland of Sydney, the inner west. The Western Harbour could become the connector from the central business district to Sydney's cultural underground, a place where both daytime and nighttime becomes playtime and where Sydney can let loose. There's no other place in the CBD, we believe, where this could happen in this way, and we are absolutely keen to talk to anyone here who wants to chat further about our vision for the Western Harbour. Here is all our wonderful partners that we worked with this year. Thank you to everybody and to everyone here at the Waterfront for their incredible support. Jace has been an absolute champion of Fringe, and Jeff as well. Please, if you want to talk to us about how we can work together to make this happen next year and in future years, come and find us after this. 42 seconds spare. There you go, Jace. Thank you.